So it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our guest speaker this morning. He's someone who I really love a lot. He's very dear and near to my heart. He's really been in service in a very, very big way here. He's been on the Board of Trustees, he teaches classes, he's a minister, he's a practitioner here. But I especially love this man because he helped me study for the affiliation exam so I would pass it, although it was 7 hours, but I did pass it, and it's all because of Reverend John Lusk. Let's give him a big hand.
Well, good morning. I am John Lusk. I am a staff minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living, and I am feeling really abundant this morning. Really, really prosperous. Some of you may be wondering about my Gandalf stick here. Earlier this month, I had my left hip replaced after about 60 years of steady deterioration. I decided enough was too much. And they even lengthened the legs so I could stand balanced now. Beforehand, they asked me, how tall are you? I said, which leg am I standing on? So when Dr. Maureen asked me, I guess it was way back in May, to speak on this Sunday, I realized that I was going to be a substitute speaker for her, and that many people liked her Sunday messages and really enjoyed hearing them. And it reminded me of the story of the parish minister who was noted for his fiery oration and his inspiring call to Jesus. And he was called away to go to a family wedding, and he asked a staffer from another church to come and speak. That staffer, wanting the congregation to know that he understood his place, said, well, I am a substitute, and a substitute is like when you break a glass window and you have just a piece of cardboard to put in there temporarily. And then he gave the best possible sermon he could give. Afterwards, one of the elders of the church walked up to him and poked him in the chest with a bony finger and said, Sonny, you weren't no substitute, you were a real pain. So I'm going to try to be very clear, like a good pane of glass today. And I'm so glad that Joyce went to the political arena, because I couldn't go there. I couldn't. If I had to have my own political party, my initials would be MYOB. That stands for mind your own business. We got too many people meddling with too much stuff in our world. So our theme this year is a world that works for all. Well, we live in a universe that was created, is created, still being created, out of the substance of the infinite. There is only one. Yes, that person that says I can't be one with them, it's too late. There is only one. And if I can make this thing work, no, it's supposed to be, there we go. Somebody rearranged my slides for me. We live in a world that works for all already, is what I'm saying. These two particular quotes came from Paul, the apostle. The first one, that as it is written, eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. Think about that word love and love of God. We'll get some more on that in a second. The second was, and we know all things work together for good to them that love God, and to them who are called according to his purpose. Now, we in religious science do not think of God as a purposing being, in the sense that we have a divine destiny to live out a certain order of life. But we are called here to live out the purpose of God, which is expression. full, complete, total, and perfect expression. So we look around this world and we have the folks that say, well, this world doesn't work for all. And I would say, with earnest tones, that the world works for all of us just about as well as we are willing to work with the world as it is, and work with ourselves as we are, so that we can give all of the love and the care and the compassion that we carry within us to the rest of the world. If I take it out of the Christian realm, I would just simply say, we need to develop a consciousness, a mindfulness of the innocence of everyone. As Joyce mentioned, we are all doing the best we possibly can. That's one of the 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. We are all doing the best we can. And that's all we can do. Now, this purpose of God of loving does not mean something really mushy and gushy. I have a friend, if you take love is all you need, she gets all upset. She gets hostile because she has not understood that love is simply the urge to life, the urge to being alive and vital and dynamic and living every single day as fully as you possibly can live. So what about our theme for this month, which is loving kindness? Well, kindness is a funny word. So many people think of kindness as giving people handouts, as charity. And I'm going to say something that may sound a little controversial, but any charity that persists in seeing a victim as a victim is not a kindness. It is not compassionate, it is sympathetic. A sympathetic person sees a victim stuck in his victimhood. A compassionate person looks at that individual who is suffering, recognizes that there is an inner strength, a core of potential there that is going through a process of tempering, and that when it comes out the other side, that person gets to be as powerful, as strong, as sharp, and as flexible as a fine Japanese sword or any other piece of fine steel. So we need to look at this world not as a place to be fixed, not as people to be picked up off the ground, but as people who have potential to live their lives fully, as you and I have right now. And we need to look at the fact that all of the people out there, nobody gets up in the morning at say about 16, 17, or 18 and says, you know what, I am going to grow up and become a crooked politician. Nobody does that, But we get caught up in the power and the trying to appease and to reach the people that we want to reach, and those people ask for a certain thing from us, and pretty soon we're not living our lives anymore. We're not living our ideals anymore. We're living the ideals that we think other people want from us, and if we give them that, then we get to be respected. It's not what life is about. I think it's Marianne Williamson that said, and I'm going to paraphrase it in a horrible way, but how dare you be anything less than your full magnificence? You're a child of God. How dare you be anything less than your full magnificence? That's where the power of your love comes in. Now, our subject specifically today was for forgiveness, and that's where this slide comes. Whoops. Let me go back. That's where the second slide comes in. You see, the power of your love. To err is human, to forgive is divine. But if you can accept with love both the error and the forgiveness, they become impossible. You don't need them anymore. My friend Barris Kaufman says to love is to be happy with. That means we accept people as they are right this minute. And we love them as they are right this minute. And we see that core of strength running through them right this minute. And that's what we relate to. And you know, if you give that out to other people, people see it in you. I've had that experience. I spent a lot of years working in a job where I was isolated and by myself, and my friends were books, and my vocabulary was the vocabulary of books. And it took me a while to realize that all the people around me that I met in the market, anywhere I went, were all potential friends. But once I realized that, this whole world is a place I love, and everybody that I've ever met lately loves me. Excuse me, I'm finding a little cotton mouth here. This thing of loving people to the exclusion of any kind of judgment or condemnation, we make that seem like it's a hard thing to do. They're different than we are. And we accentuate our differences. I was joking with somebody the other day that because I was born here in the United States, on the continent of North America, that I was a Native American. And I got a lecture about the fact that no, the Native Americans were Yalum people who came here over 12,000 years ago. Well, it might have been 20,000 years ago. They still migrated here, and they're still people, and we all came out of the same source and the same group somewhere way back when. And when they take a look at our genetics, our DNA, there's not a heck of a lot of difference from one person to the next. The difference is in how we live and how we believe and how we act to other people. And the only thing I can say about this world that works for all is, if we don't judge it as wrong, and Holmes often said, there's nothing wrong with this world. Nothing that needs to be fixed. Nothing at all. We just need to look at it from the right direction. You turn entirely away from the condition, and you begin to describe the world in terms of its solution. And then you begin to live according to that solution, acting as if you will, simplifying it. You see, we don't change the physical world in that sense. The science of mind is not a matter of manipulating matter. It is a matter of manipulating our consciousness, discovering ways within us that we can see the world and become mindful of how it is working in all of its workings, and find our niche and our path and our way and our solution and our opportunities. And when we do that so well, we never ever need to have anything that belongs to anyone else. I mentioned one day that I thought the 10 Commandments were really 10 promises. I still do. I think that when the Jewish lawyers tried to entrap Jesus and asked him about the greatest commandment, and he said the greatest commandment is to love God with your whole heart, your whole soul, and your whole mind, and that the second was like unto it, to love your neighbor as yourself. I think he was saying that's not so much a commandment as that's a promise. When you get the understanding of what life really is, there isn't any need anymore to do anything but agree with your adversary. Agree with him. Take the sting out of it. Take the pressure out of it. One of the things I learned about myself a while back, I used to be a hostile kind of a guy, is that the harder I would argue for a particular thing, the easier it was for somebody else to convince me that I was wrong, because in my own argument, I began to discover the fallacy of what I was believing. We had those two quotes from Paul, the apostle. He actually was the founder of the Christian church. He was the individual who first named followers of Jesus Christians. But before that, he was Saul of Tarsus. He was the chief persecutor of those people who didn't practice Judaism as he felt it ought to be practiced, because they were following the teachings of Jesus. Then he went out in the world and he said to the Romans, you go ahead and be Romans. You don't have to get circumcised. You be Romans, but now follow these teachings, because I understand now that they are teachings of love. They are teachings of joy. They are teachings of healing. You see, he made a change. We can make a change. And we can discover the way to live in that change. So I thought this was remarkable. Deepak Chopra says that the word for the fourth chakra is anhata, which means unstruck or unhurt. The name implies that beneath the pains and grievances of past experience lies a pure and spiritual place where no hurt exists. So I'm not a super student of chakras, but my understanding is that fourth chakra is the one that sits right about here in the heart cave. It's in that place where we often do feel our sadness, our pain, our hurt, our longing, our need. But if we really understand, as Chopra is saying here, there is a space within us, a place in consciousness that has never been touched, is never hurt, never ever will be hurt, does not need to forgive, does not need to be forgiven, that is pure. And that space exists in each and every one of us. Holmes often talked about the idea that there's no place where you leave off and I begin, where you leave off and God begins. I think that space, if we had to point to it as a physical location, is in that heart center within us. That would be the pain-free, the unhurt. That's our core of godliness, our godness, our God-beingness, connectedness. Certainly we have a physical body. I certainly know mine was physical. I had to have it worked on. But that's okay. I also know that the substance of everyone here and the substance that I live is the God substance. And that by working in my consciousness and becoming aware of that God substance, I can move in my consciousness to a place where I live in complete prosperity, regardless of what anybody's doing. You know, I'd like to say, geez, I woke up this morning and there wasn't any ISIS or Taliban. There wasn't any DNC or GNC or any of that stuff. You know, I would like to see us live in a society where everybody did what they found as their core value, their main skill, their desire, and expressed fully all that they could possibly express in that area of their lives, and gave it away freely to everybody else. Now, if we all gave it away freely to everybody else, somewhere along the line, somebody's going to give me whatever I need to live because I'm giving them whatever they need to enjoy. It's a balance. We try to do it the other way around. We try to take it from one and give it to another, and the way that works is people that understood how to get it in the first place, as soon as you take them away from them, they're figuring out how to get it back. And so, you know, we need to give it heartfelt from the center. So what Holmes says about prosperity, excuse me. And this was in the 1926 Science of Mind. He says, prosperity is the outpicturing of substance in our affairs. Everything in the universe is for us. Nothing is against us. We must know that everywhere we go, we meet friendship, love, human interest, and helpfulness. Life is ever giving of itself. We must receive, utilize, and extend the gift. Success and prosperity are spiritual attributes belonging to all people, but not necessarily used by all people. That's our job. That's our sole job as religious scientists, to use what we have. I used to tease a young lady who was, oh, I better not go there, but there was an expression, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If you don't use it, it's going to rust. And the reality is we have within us talents that we can develop. And we see them, they pop up. And we go, oh, I can't do that. That's too hard. If I go and do that, somebody will decide that it's wrong. My parents, my teachers, my friends. I started writing once, when I was about 19 or 20. I showed it to a girlfriend. She says, that's pretty good. I says, I think I'm going to keep on working on it. I'm going to become a writer. Oh, it's not that good. You know, and so I put it away for a while. But I kept coming back to it because there's something within me that says, John, you have to write. And so John has to write. I stood on a box when I was 4 years old, put my stuffed animals out in front of me, and I harangued my stuffed animals. Now, most of my life, people were saying, John, you talk too much. Shut up and go away. But I have to talk to people. So here I am. Part of my letting myself express. Thanks. We have to let ourselves, we have to use ourselves, we have to use what we have or lose it. And what we need to do on a daily basis is daily we hold our desire as an already accomplished fact. We go about our business with joy and gladness, with peace and quiet confidence. Remember the expression, in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Almost every prayer I write, I deal with the idea of peace, assurance, gratitude, and love. The law is sure to act. During the process, many things may happen that will appear to be destructive. And that's where we all have our problem. Oh my God, it didn't work. And we quit. And we crawl back inside ourselves. No, that's the point where we say, oh, look, a detour. Now I get to go a more interesting route. In 2010, when I first decided that I really wanted to be a minister, I failed my orals because I wasn't ready to start a church in Oregon right that minute. So it put me in a situation where I had to go take a good, solid look at myself. I took several workshops. I came here. I joined this community. And I evolved. And I finally passed my orals a little bit later on, and I became a minister here. But that first blow of you don't pass your orals felt like a punch in the stomach. And then I said, no, this is an opportunity for me to really continue on and daily affirm that I am going to have my center in Oregon. And by golly, I'm working on it. And it's evolving. And it's coming to pass. I'm in that really weird state right now where my house has sort of been sold and my house up there is sort of in escrow. And I'm sort of not sure where I'm going to live or how I'm going to get all my stuff up there. I want to be there. I just don't want to go through the move. You know what I'm talking about. You know, how can I get from here to there instantly, teleport the whole thing? I haven't figured that one out yet. If anybody's got that down, let me know. So we may pass through good fortune and bad, but if we can come to the point where we are not disturbed by what happens on the outside, we have found the secret. None of this moves me. You see the storms around you. None of this moves me. I don't care, get out a Bible, go find the 91st Psalm where it talks about dwelling in the shadow of the Almighty. And he talks about the arrows that fly by day and the pestilence that creeps by night and all of that kind of stuff that goes on. And it shall not come nigh thee. None of this moves me. There's stories of both World War I and World War II where platoons of men read that psalm every single day and went through the entire war unscathed. Not a man was hurt. Not a single one. Because they got into that belief. None of this moves me. It shall not come nigh me. We will have found the secret when we can allow none of it to move me. At this point, I'd like to ask you that you join with me in prayer. Now, some of you have been handed a card. You don't need to read that card. Just take it home, keep it with you, read it later. I'm going to modify this just a little bit because I've been carrying this. Well, there it is. I've been carrying this since I was given this by my very first practitioner, Francis Hoskins, in 1971 when I first became involved in the science of mind. So please join with me in knowing that God is love. God is love, and that is that creative urge, that divine urge to live and to express. I am love. That's my name. That is my nature. I am love. And that's all I have to give to the world. I am love. Love rules my heart, that core within me that's never been touched. My mind, all of my intellect and all of my wisdom and my affairs. The whole earthly realm of all that I need to do, all that I desire to do. Love fills my hands with the gifts of God, which I gladly share. I gladly share them because there's so much, such an abundance of the good of God, that all I can do is let it flow through me and watch it multiplied as it comes within, and I give it back the full expression that I have. I bless humanity with love. I can see it just radiating out, embracing the entire, 7 billion on this planet right now. Humanity blesses me with love. And that's a cozy feeling, that 7 billion people embracing me with love. Every problem is adjusted. If we state that problem in terms of its answer and stay in the answer, it adjusts the problem, it solves it. Every crooked path is made straight. To me, that means even if there's a curve, the curve is there for beauty, it's for grace, it's for interest. But essentially, it's a flow, it's a continuous flow. My life is a continuous flow. Every debt is canceled. I owe no one. No one owes me. Karma. That law of cause and effect. I go back now, and in this moment, I acknowledge that I change my cause to one of love. And in the changing of my cause to love, only love can come back to me. Every inharmony is soothed and forgiven by the power of God's love. Well, instantly as I become aware of that love within me, there is nothing more to forgive. There is no more inharmony. It is all harmony. I now consecrate my life to love. This is my conscious decision to live in love, to love my life, to give my life in love to all that I do. Divine love surrounds, enfolds, and uplifts me. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. And so it is.
So it is.